24, a 5-time world champion. Callum Scottson as well, named in the Australian quartet. There are one or two that could come in for the Olympic Games for Australia still, who are not here at this moment. But Bradley Wiggins there. 12 world titles across all disciplines on road and track. 6 golds on the track, including 2 in this event, but not for a good few years now, in 07 and 08. But they've got active experience, as well as the youth of Dibburn and Dool. Ed Clancy coming in for this final. A 5-time world champion, 4 team pursuit world titles for him, going way back over a decade. A double Olympic champion in this event. What a final we have in prospect here.
So we're not sure what Ed Clancy's got to give here. They're bringing him in, that huge experience he has. He can deal with the pressure, that's for sure. On his day, one of the best starters in the world, of course. Wiggins take huge confidence from the 2 previous rides. Clancy's got to get them out the gate. They've saved him for the final. He hasn't had that acclimatisation. A courageous move to bring him in for this ride, but he won't let them down.
Classic sporting confrontation that endures and never fails to do anything other than deliver. It's a World Championship final between Great Britain and Australia, and Ed Clancy leads on the opening lap. That's his role. Shane Sutton was saying to me earlier today they think Ed's got one good ride in him here at this championship as he recovers from that back operation and gets back to top form, and Clancy has a considerable engine on him, which will be required here.
Well, a steady start from him, a very different style. The Australians, I think, determined to get the nose in front early on, and they've done just that.
Well, Australia trying to put their pressure on early here in this 4K race, and as you can see, just over a half a second advantage for the team from down under here, but a long way to go in this final.
Well, it's not time to panic yet, that's for sure, but they got off the mark. It was almost like a team sprint start there, 3/4 of a second in advance, but that advantage is now being held by the British team. We want to see them start to nibble it back now, though.
Owen Dool now riding on the front. What a great young talent the Welshman is. 3rd overall in the Tour of Britain on the road last year. But for now, it's all about the track. It's all about the road to Rio. And at this moment in time, it's all about trying to secure that gold medal. Has the gap come down? It has just a little bit, but it's staying in a similar sort of area at a 0.6 of a second. Bradley Wiggins on the front.
Well, he's likely to do a long turn, and they gain about 2/10 of a second if somebody does a long turn, just by the extra length that they don't lose in that change. And sure enough, he's coming round, still on the front, ploughing forward now with the team, bringing them, well, it's lost another 1/10 of a second, so holding his own, but we need some more speed.
9 laps to go, and the gap has just gone up a bit here. There's work to do for Great Britain. How much have they got in the tank here?
Slipped another few hundredths of a second there, so the Australians are matching them stride for stride.
Britain finding it hard to just take a bite of that lead and close it down as Ed Clancy goes to the front again.
Well, he's done a great job because he's just pulled back nearly half a second in a single turn.
But it's all going to come down to the closing stages of this race.
0.3 of a second in it now between the 2 teams. It's absolutely nothing. Wiggins' endurance will come into play in the last part of this race.
Great Britain are on a roll here now. They're closing the gap all the time, closing in as Dibburn comes off the front now, and John Dibburn is done, and we're down to a final 3. Now it's back up to 0.4 of a second, less than half a second in this classic confrontation. Great Britain against Australia.
Well, this might be where the strength in depth shows for the Australians. The 3 Brits are really still holding their own, 0.3 behind, but the Australians have got that extra man, and that could make the difference. But the Brits are on home turf, and they're still fighting.
Next time over the line, 3 laps to go. What's the gap? It's come down again. 3 laps in the race for gold here in the men's team pursuit. Bradley Wiggins on the front. He's still got Ed Clancy there. He's still got Owen Dool. Who wants it more? The crowd are on their feet here. racing on the edge, and they just tipped over the edge on the very last lap. But they gave everything and a little bit more in pursuit of that world title. But it's Australia who win the day.
It was half a lap to go, and I think it was Ed Clancy who just couldn't quite do it. Going down to 3 men, he's the starter. He got them out the gate, the hardest job of all, and he just couldn't stay. But the experience, he changed even late in the banking, almost a roadman change, just get out of the way, because he knew he was only going to slow them down and couldn't catch the wheel on the way past.
Big psychological victory perhaps there for Australia on the road to Rio, Chris.
And a fast time by both teams. The Brits started slower than they did in the previous ride, but tremendous last quarter. But the Australians were just consistent all the way through and had that extra depth with that last man.
So Australia world champions again in the team pursuit. They were 3rd last year, but they've been on the podium in each of the last 3 years. They were world champions in 2013 and 14. They're on top of the world again here. Australia out quickly, gaining an early lead and holding on to it for the most part, but there was a very strong late challenge from Great Britain, which almost worked.
That was the best ride by far we've seen them, because they had issues in the ride. They lost a man, Ed wasn't good, but I was very pleased the way they managed those problems on the move. That was the key difference here. They had communication, they used their strengths, but it wasn't enough.
Blisteringly quick winning time for Australia, 3:52.727. Great Britain, 3 minutes 53.856. What a final. Great Britain will be hoping to go one better when we get to Brazil in the summer.
A terrific performance from Australia. Many congratulations to them. They are the world champions. But Chris Hoy, was there any sense that Great Britain miscalculated where their finish was? Did they go for it half a lap too early?
We'll have to watch the replay. I think what actually happened was that they had to make a change with about half a lap to go. I thought they actually had swung up as if they were peeling. No, it was just a change.
Oh, they did.
But Bradley had, I think it was a 2-lap spell, an enormous spell, which pulled back the time, put GB into the lead, and it was just a little bit, there you go, you could see him cracking towards the end. It was a gutsy performance, and I think that, you know, as always, it's an absolute belter when Australia and GB come head-to-head in the team pursuit. But, yeah, the Australians seem to hold it together better, and then just, you know, unfortunately, it's a silver for the guys.
The noise in here was incredible. And when suddenly Britain went ahead, I mean, it felt like the roof was going to come off.
It's absolutely incredible to race here, and with everyone being all the way around the bankings as well, the noise never stops. But it's so amazing also to just see and see that.
Yeah, he didn't say he wants to be in the team as well. Is that the thing you're meant to do? Wear your cycling kit?
Apparently so. I'll have half a pint of what he's just had, I think.
I love it.
Brilliant.
Well, you remember in Beijing, that was my brother. He'd stolen Barney's kit, and he was stood in the stands in Beijing wearing it for 4 days straight. So maybe that's where the guys got the idea.